Hey fellow tennis nerds, I hope all is well. I'm counting down to the best rackets of the year, or my favorite rackets of the year. The releases I think made the most impression, and I've done this for many years now. And it's an enjoyable process. Obviously, it's quite demanding to keep testing new rackets all the time, and it really ruins your timing a little bit, I must say. But it's a fun process, and I've been testing pretty much all the key releases in 2022. So I'm taking them one by one. Please go back to my previous videos in the recent couple of weeks to see some other favorites. But I will keep doing that, and then we'll get to the Gear of the Year video where I will list them all per category. For this video, I want to talk about the Yonex Ezone 100, but I'm going to also talk about the other models in the Ezone lineup, because there are three models that stand out: Ezone 98, Ezone 100, and Ezone Tour. The Ezone Tour I recently reviewed. It's a heavier frame with 315 grams on strung, swing weight more towards 330 when you string it. A little bit more demanding. I prefer having the regular Ezone with some customization option. Generally, that's a good advice if you are open to adding some lead tape and customizing the frames yourself. I prefer starting a bit lower with a lighter frame, and then I can play it lighter if I want that, or keep adding some weight to it. For the Ezone 98, I felt like that is the best choice instead of going for the Tour version. But if you don't like adding weight, the Tour version is very solid and a nice playing stick. Ezone 98 is the most popular one, I would say, if you look around, especially on the Tour. Naomi Osaka used to play the Ezone 98 AI edition. That was some years back. But she actually made a switch to the latest generation. And this is not just like a cosmetic thing. This is what she actually did. And I think that's hard to say how it has worked for her game. You haven't seen much of Osaka. But it's a telling sign anyway that this current Ezone is one of the best they've made. And that's my opinion. Both the 100 is my favorite 100 that I've played with. The 98 as well. I do like the older generations. They like the blades. They have different plus and minuses depending on the generation, but this one just plays overall very, very well. And I think many players will like the Ezone 98 or 100. They are just simply very good rackets. Give you extra power, quite a modern frame, but pretty forgiving for the head size. Either the 98 or the 100. I think they are generally a bit more forgiving than other rackets in the same head size genre. Doesn't mean that they're better. They have a bit of a muted response. It's not like the best sensation when you hit the ball, but what the racket produces is the thing here, and it gives you good power, but you still feel confident while playing with it. And even the 100, which has become my personal favorite, and a racket I'm really considering for 2023, because I think it's really forgiving. I realized that I need to play with easier frames, as I've talked about many, many times. Really forgiving, good power, but I still know where the ball is going. I feel like I know where the ball is going. The only if and but, perhaps with the Ezone 100, is that it might be a bit stiff. I've not felt anything in the arm or wrist or anywhere, but I'm just keeping, check on that while I'm playing with it more and more and more. But it's a racket I really enjoy. It's up in the top 5 list of rackets right now that I'm considering for the next season. As you know, I am definitely going to play with one racket for competitions. I'm going to play a lot more tournament matches in general, if I can next year, if injuries permit me to, if I'm not injured and so on. But and I will definitely need a racket. But that aside, the Ezone 100 is my personal favorite of the bunch. Ezone 98 is also a great frame, gives you a bit more control, and is a great option. I tried the Ezone Tour together with Miguel here, who also plays on the ITF Seniors Tour. He's played on the ITF Futures Tour before. Now he plays some Seniors plus 35, and he's actually won 2 recent events. Very good player, Miguel. He played it with the Grapple Snake Game Changer, and he really liked the response of this frame. Also, Nicky Run, in a previous video where we reviewed the Ezone 98 Tour, he also played it with the Game Changer. So that string is a very good string to try out if you like a very shaped string. This is a cube, so 4-sided. So the string produces a lot of spin. Not 100% sure about durability, but it's relatively soft for one of these cube-shaped string. But overall, Ezone Tour for you who like a bit more weight and not customized. Ezone 98 for you who like more control, a bit more room for customization or a faster swing. Chapo tried it for a while. Now he's with the 2023 VCore 95, which is coming out in January. Osaka has switched to it. Kokinaki switched to it. There's so many players who like the Ezone 98 2022 edition, and definitely one of the most impressive releases. I think they really nailed it compared to the 2020 version, which I felt was a little bit harder to control. I didn't feel as dialed in terms of connection to the ball. You want to feel like you are in charge always, and that sensation I think is much better in the current edition. It's so much better to me that I felt like I would really upgrade. If I had a few of the Ezones from the previous generation, I would definitely consider upgrading, because I think these are much better. And we've seen that with certain rackets this year, even the speeds, the head speeds I talked about in the previous video, the Speed Pro was just better overall, and so much better that I think an upgrade is actually worth it, because many times the upgrade is so small that doesn't really matter. You can keep playing with your current edition, and that's been the theme for many rackets over the years, but not with these two that I mentioned. And the Ezone 100 has been the racket that I've been using. Like, you see it a lot in the video. You see my friend Alex, who hits a big ball, play with this racket here and as well. And yeah, he's a fan of it. And it's just simply a very good racket. Like I said, if I could wish for something, it would be a plusher response. Feels a bit damp and muted, but I can live with that, since the ball seems to be going in even when I think it's going out. And that is really what I want. And the sweet spot is big, so I don't feel like I'm mishitting as much as I can do with some other frames. When the tempo goes up, then you're pushed and you need more help. And that's what I've got so far with the Ezone 100. So the new Ezones, well recommended. Definitely one of the best rackets of the year. I can say that 100%. And there's a reason so many players like the Ezones. Also, the quality control is generally a bit better with the Japanese-made Yonex rackets. And that's something I've seen. Not always spot on with swing weights, but at least the weight and balance are closer, so that makes you a bit more confident, and also will make the swing weight overall a little bit more precise. So I wish other brands would say, hey, we can't do 7 grams either way anymore. It's too much. It can differ 14 grams one racket. That's not okay. So they need to find a way of reducing that, because that's really what the consumer deserves. If you want other recommendations, other tips, and videos that lead you to the right racket, check out my Road to the Right Racket online course. 36 videos, ebook, everything you need to find the right racket. It's 49 euros right now. So check out the link in the description. I also have a consultation service if you click the help page on tennisnerd.net. That's all. Have a nice day, and don't forget to play some tennis.